Welcome to today's episode, where we take a timeless story from the Bible and break it down into something real, honest, and easy to connect with. Whether you've grown up hearing these stories or you're just starting to explore them, this space is all about understanding how these ancient lessons still apply to our lives right now. Today, we're diving into the story of Noah and the flood, a world gone off track, one man who chose to live differently, and a second chance for humanity. We'll look at the original verses, then walk through a modern-day interpretation that anyone, young or old, can relate to. After that, I'll share a real-world example you might see in your everyday life, followed by a call to action to help you carry this message forward. Whether you're listening on your commute at home or while taking a walk, stick around. You might just hear something that shifts your perspective today. Let's get into it. Wickedness in the world, a modern interpretation. As the human population grew and more daughters were born, some spiritual beings, referred to as the sons of God, noticed how beautiful human women were. They began choosing whomever they wanted as wives and marrying them. But God saw what was happening and said, I won't let my spirit struggle with people forever. They're only human. And from now on, I'll limit their lifespan to 120 years. Back in those days, and even afterward, there were giants known as the Nephilim. These were the children of the sons of God and human women. They became legends, strong and powerful, well known across the land. But things had gotten really dark. God looked at the world and saw that people were completely consumed by evil. Their thoughts and desires were corrupt all the time. This broke God's heart. He regretted ever creating human beings, and it grieved him deeply. So God said, I'm going to wipe the human race off the earth, along with every animal, bird, and creature crawling on the ground. I regret that I made them. But there was one man who stood out, Noah. God saw something good in him. Noah and the flood, modern interpretation. Here's the story of Noah and his family. Noah was a good man, someone who did the right thing when almost no one else did. He lived with integrity and stayed close to God. He had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. By this time, the world had become completely corrupt and violent. People had turned away from what was right, and everything was falling apart. God looked at the earth and saw how far things had gone. Humanity had totally destroyed its own way of life. So God told Noah, I'm going to put an end to this. The violence has gotten out of control, and I'm going to wipe everything clean, even the earth itself. But I want you to build a giant boat, an ark, out of strong wood. Make separate rooms inside, and waterproof it completely, inside and out. He continued, here are the measurements. It should be about 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. Add a roof with a small gap below it all the way around for light and air. Put a door on the side and build 3 decks, lower, middle, and upper. Then God told him the reason. I'm sending a massive flood to wipe out every living thing on earth. Everything that breathes will be gone. But I'm making a promise with you. You and your family, your wife, your sons, and their wives will be safe in the ark. Bring 2 of every living creature into the ark, a male and a female of each kind, so they can survive with you. Animals, birds, and all other creatures that move on land will come to you. Store up enough food for both your family and all the animals. And Noah, he did everything exactly the way God told him to. This is my modern-day interpretation. This story shows us what happens when people lose their way. In a time when humanity kept growing, people began living however they wanted, ignoring what was right and thinking only of themselves. Violence, corruption, and selfishness were everywhere. God wasn't just angry. He was heartbroken. He saw how far people had drifted from love, kindness and truth, and it deeply saddened him. But in all that chaos, one person stood out, Noah. He chose to live differently. He stayed connected to God, walked with integrity, and followed the right path even when it wasn't popular. Because of that, God chose him to carry out a mission of survival and hope. Noah wasn't perfect, but he listened, obeyed, and took action. The story of Noah and the flood is not just about destruction. It's about new beginnings. Sometimes things need to be cleared away so that something better can grow. The ark wasn't just a boat. It was a symbol of protection, obedience, and God's promise to restore. When the world feels like it's falling apart, we can still choose to do what's right and make a difference, just like Noah. This reminds us that even in a world that often seems dark, one person's faithfulness can bring light. Noah didn't follow the crowd. He followed God. And that changed everything. Life example. Imagine living in a world where everyone is chasing popularity, money, and power, where people lie, cheat, or hurt others just to get ahead. You scroll through social media and see people doing whatever it takes for attention, even if it means disrespecting themselves or others. That's not too different from Noah's time. The world was full of noise, distraction, and destruction. But now think of someone who chooses a different path. Maybe it's the student who stands up for someone being bullied, or the parent working 2 jobs, but still finding time to teach their kids about kindness. Or the person who gives up comfort to help a stranger. These people are modern-day Noahs, choosing to walk in integrity even when no one else is. You're called to action. If the world feels overwhelming or broken sometimes, don't lose hope. You can be like Noah. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing to listen, do what's right, and stay true to your values. Start small. Be honest when it's hard. Be kind when others aren't. And keep your heart open to doing good, even when no one is watching. Ask yourself, what's my arc? Maybe it's setting boundaries, starting fresh, or making better choices for yourself and your family. Build something that matters, something that can carry you and others through the storms of life. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. Come back next time as we keep exploring these ancient stories and how they still speak to us today. Let's grow together, one step, one story, one act of faith at a time.